Hey guys, OGL Brian here, bringing you guys my NCP Wi-Fi Season 1 Semifinals match against Jacob as always and his Green Bay Pikachus. We are in the semifinals and we are playing a phenomenal Draft League player in Jacob right here. He's incredibly talented. We played him, I forget which week it was like 7, 8, or 9. It was somewhere towards like later into the season, and he actually clapped us pretty bad. So this is a game that we will have to kind of surprise him somehow, because he does have us beaten in the skill aspect and he does have a pretty nice matchup here. But I believe we have a pretty cool team, as you can see just by the first one on the screen right here. We're bringing a different team as to the usual playstyle that we've brought in this whole season, as like a hard offensive, just momentum and putting offensive pressure on his team, because as you'll see, we don't really put a lot of offensive pressure on his team with in this matchup. But with that being said, let's just jump right into the matchup. Our team, if you did forget, consists of the Zygarde, Azelf, Florges, Serena, Drapion, Crustle, Mega Aggron, Keldeo, Staraptor, Alolan Marowak, and Rotom Fan, while his team consists of the Tornadus Therian, Hydreigon, Emboar, Fortress, Ambipom, Garbodor, Mega Mawile, Slowbro, Tapu Bulu, Alolan Golem, and Palossand. So, right off the bat, his team's really good. His team's really gross. We don't really break that Regen Core plus Tapu Bulu very well at all. Our entire team has a lot of struggles a lot with it. The Hydreigon's very scary. The Mega Mawile's a Mega Mawile. That thing's terrifying. But yeah, our way of breaking it down is actually going to be our first one right here. I just want to jump right into it, because spoilers, this is going to be a very long game. I'm going to have to speed it up at sometimes. And you'll see why with a set like this, as we are rocking out with a Zygarde right here with the leftovers or breakability, 1,000 Arrow Substitute, Toxic, and Protect. 252 HP, 36 attack, 124 defense, and 4 super def, and 92 speed with a Jolly Nature. So this is going to be our main way of breaking down his fat. Sub-Toxic Protect Zygarde really does, his team really does struggle with it. The only thing that can really stop it is the Fortress. If he's like an HP Ice Fortress, it kind of sits in front of the set and doesn't really care, but I don't really think Fortress has much business coming in this game. I hope it doesn't, because I kind of under-prep for it, in all honesty. But yeah, his team, nothing on his team really wants to take a Toxic. The Mawile is only other immunity, and I can hit that with 1,000 arrows, even with only 36 attack investment. We still do a big chunk to that thing. Our defense investment allows us to never be 3 KO'd by Banded, Emboar's, Flare Blitz after Stealth Rocks, which is very nice. It gives a good check to that, because it's a pretty good breaker versus the team that we ended up bringing. And yeah, so if we can Toxic things like the Slowbro, like the Torn T, like the Tapu Bulu and stuff like that, and we can kind of sit there and sub-Toxic Protect them all. That plus lefties and grassy terrain potentially, if he has that up. It's going to be really gross for his team to deal with, in all honesty. He really doesn't appreciate this thing at all. But yeah, let's jump into the next member, which is going to be our Mega Aggron. Filter ability, Stealth Rock, Topping Tantrum, Heavy Slam, and Toxic. 252 HP, 172 defense, and 84 super def. So I believe this investment is to take, I want to say 2 Adamant Brick Breaks from the Mega Mawile. I think it's 2 Adamant. It might be 3. I totally forget the exact count, but I don't want to check right now because we don't have too much time. We're rocking out with Stomping Tantrum because of the Tapu Bulu's grassy terrain, so we're not weakened by that, and we can hit the Mawile for the most damage possible, because like Earthquake's not doing too much to it under terrain and stuff like that. And then Heavy Slam for pretty much everything else. And Toxic to spread more status if we can, because the whole point of this team is to kind of just slowly wear down his team. Next up, we have our Florges, which is going to be our Hydreigon check, Moonblast, Wish, Defog, and Hidden Power Fire. 252 HP, 68 defense, 124 super def, and 64 speed with a Calm Nature. This is going to be our Wish Pass of this game. This is what's going to keep our Aggron healthy. It's what's going to potentially keep our Zygarde healthy, and there's another member later on in the team that it's supposed to keep healthy as well. Defog to, stop him from potentially hazard stacking us, and Hidden Power Fire for his dual steel types. But yeah, then next up we have our Azelf, which is going to be a great win con this game, rocking out with the Colbert Berry, Levitate ability, Psychic, Energy Ball, Flamethrower, and Nasty Plot. 172 HP, 96 special attack, 92 special attack, and 244 speed with the Modest Nature. This is going to be our main way of winning this game. The only thing that really standing in the way of the coverage on this thing is going to be the Tornado's T, because it is faster, and the Hydreigon. We're not carrying Dazzling Gleam this time. I decided to go Energy Ball just to hit the Slowbro that much harder, because we didn't hit it very hard in the past, but now we can kind of hit that, plus everything else, Flamethrower and Energy Ball and Psychic, just kind of hits the team very, very hard, even without a lot of investment. At +2 with the 92 Modest, we do a huge chunk, and we can lift things like an Adamant Sucker Punch after rocks with our Colbur Berry from the Mawile and stuff like that, which is obviously great. Or a Dark Pulse from the Hydreigon if it's weakened enough to where we can pick it off with Flamethrower somehow. But yeah, that's going to be Azelf right here. Next up, we have a Staraptor right here. Choice Scarf, Strapper, Brave Bird, Facade, U-Turn, Close Combat, max attack, 244 speed, and then 4 and all of its other stats. It's just kind of how the EV's lined up. So Staraptor here, it is creeping the Hydreigon, so it gives us a Scarf for faster than that. We actually do have the Intimidate ability this week, which is unfortunate. That's not on purpose. I won't lie and be like, oh, I needed it to buffer and live this hit. No, I just forgot to click Reckless, which sucks. But it actually ends up helping us out in the battle, as you will see in a second. But this is a good Scarf versus team. I like Facade just in case I get burned, because I'm not really going to be clicking Double Edge for any real reason. I'll be clicking Brave Bird most of the time anyways for recoil attack, Close Combat, and U-Turn to hit other things as well. And yeah. And then lastly, we are rocking out with a Rotom Fan right here. With the leftovers item, Levitate ability, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Air Slash, and Pain Split. 4 HP, 44 defense, 148 special attack, 148 special defense, and 164 speed with a timid nature. This is going to be our Tornadus Therian check. I don't want to have to rely on our Florges to check both the Tornadus and the Hydreigon, so this takes a little bit of pressure off of that. We aren't 3-hit KO'd by Hurricane by that thing. Man. Pain Split for longevity. I believe we have enough special attack to always 2-hit KO. Max HP Assault Vest Slowbro. So unless he's like max enough, we can always 2-hit KO that thing with Thunderbolt, which is great. Air Slash for other stab, and then Volt Switch for momentum. So yeah, that's going to be the team. Let's just jump right into the battle. Alright guys, here we are with the battle. So looking at the team that Jacob elected to bring, looks like he went with the Alolan Golem, the Slowbro, the Hydreigon, Mega Mawile, Tornti, and the Tapu Bulu. So right off the bat, this team is terrifying. I don't know how he got this, but he did. And it's going to be very, very tough for us to try and potentially beat. That being said, our Subtoxic Zygarde goes in. And being that he liked to bring the Alolan Golem, which is a pretty odd choice versus me. I didn't see the merit coming, and potentially it being like maybe a Magnet Rise Magnapole set to trap my Aggron, because it's not taking too much from Heavy Slam, I believe. I don't know. I think it's a pretty heavy mod. I don't know. To potentially try and trap my Aggron maybe, but other than that, it doesn't do too much versus me besides maybe get up rocks. But it pretty much lets in my Zygarde for free every time. I just kind of have to be careful of him going for like an Ice Punch or something like that. And we can sub down on that pretty much always and get a big Toxic off on something, which is awesome. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right into the game. I am going to lead off with my Rotom right here, just in case he wants to lead off with the Tornti, which is a great lead versus me in my opinion. It outspeeds everything on my team, minus Scarfers. And it puts on a pretty good amount of offensive pressure versus me at this point. As right here, he's going to lead off with the Alolan Golem, which is unfortunate because he might be able to potentially get up his rocks right here, as I am going to lead off with my cutoff nickname, Rotom Fan right here, as he is going to pull the switch out right here, maybe not wanting to be burned, and he's going to go into his Slowbro, which is a weird pivot, but this just shows that he is definitely AV. Not max special defense, but he's definitely AV again. Probably just to help check like the Keldeo and stuff like that, in case I wanted to bring that. So right here, I'm going to go into my Staraptor, and this is where in the game I noticed that I'm Intimidate. If I was Reckless, I actually had a chance to maybe knock him out with like a Double Edge or a Brave Bird right here or something like that. But I am going to, go for a U-turn, as he probably wants to scout and make sure I'm not banded or something like that. He's going to go into his own Golem, and I'm just going to go for the U-turn right here. And what this does is it gives me a free switch to my Zygarde. And I think this is the point of the game. I am going to just kind of turn up the speed for this, because this game is a very, very long game, as you guys saw right there. And I am going to go into my Zygarde right here. He's going to pull the switch out, I believe, into his Slowbro once again, which is great because I want a Toxic on this thing. I don't break it very well at all. All I have is my Rotom to initially just break through this thing, as I can probably 2-hit KO with Thunderbolt. Right here, I am going to go for the Toxic on the Slowbro, I believe he goes for the Ice Beam to break my sub right here, which is completely fine because we did get the Toxic off on this thing. And we are just going to get a little bit of lefties back as he went for the Ice Beam right there. And get a little bit of recovery as it lags a little bit more. Hopefully it doesn't do that a lot because, again, this game is pretty long. Right here, he's going to take a little bit more Toxic Chip as he's going to switch out right here. And I believe I go for the Protect right here, which is unfortunate. I probably should have went for another sub, potentially, to try and get a Toxic off on this Torn. But right here, I'm just going to go for Protect. I have no reason not to Protect. It lets me scout and see what he kind of wants to go for. As he goes for the Taunt, when he reveals the Taunt, that makes our Zygarde a little bit more hard pressed to beat this thing. It's going to be hard getting a Toxic off on this guy. But I am going to pull a switch out into my Tornadus check in my Rotom as he goes for the HPI, so makes a good play. I figured he would probably make that play, but I knew I could live 2, which is completely fine. As right here, I'm going to go for the Pain Split, expecting him to go for another one, knowing he can live 1 hit from us guaranteed. And we're going to get pretty much all of our health back right there, which is awesome. And this would actually put him in range of a Thunderbolt, potentially, depending on his spread. And being that he's like max special attacker around there, I could definitely see it doing so. So I'm just going to go for the Volt Switch, expecting his switch as he goes out into the Hydreigon. And I believe I can just go out into my Staraptors. I kind of want to keep up offensive momentum. I could have went into my Florges, but he has good switch into that, and I didn't think my positioning would be great if he did that. And if he wants to stay in with this, I get more chip on it, and I can go into my Florges anyways, which is what he does elect to end up doing, as he kind of calls my bluff for me going for the U-turn, and then goes for a Dark Pulse right here, as I am able to just kind of eat that up and get up a little bit of lefty's recovery. As right here, he's going to pull the switch out, I believe, into his Tapu Bulu right here, which is completely fine. As I think I go for the Hidden Power Fire, expecting maybe the Mawile to come in on like a very aggressive switch, but he had no reason to really do that. And this shows this is a pretty bulky Tapu Bulu right here. He's not like Spadef Bulu, but he's rocking pretty close to max HP if I remember correctly. Excuse me. As right here, he's going to go for the Leech Seed, as I am going to pull the switch out into my... As I'm going to go for the Witch, and then this next turn, I believe I'm going to pull the switch out into my Mega Aggron. I wanted to get it in safely, in case he wanted to go for like a superpower before we, got our Mega off and stuff like that. It would bring us down to our Sturdy and stuff. At least with that, we could get, if he made that play, we could get a good Wish back and then get our recovery the next turn and potentially get our Rock, something like that. As right here, he is going to switch out on our Aggron, not wanting to take a heavy slam, and he goes out into his Golem, and I'm going to double out, expecting that kind of switch into my Zygarde, which is great because now we are in once again, and we can kind of just have our way with his team. In all honesty, like it's looking pretty annoying for his team at this point. As he's gonna pivot out into his Slowbro, he probably doesn't want to go hard into the Torn because if I did just go straight for the Toxic that turn. He would have been in a pretty rough spot getting that thing poisoned so early. As right here, the Grassy Terrain is going to unfortunately run out. And right here, I'm going to go for the Protect, get a little bit of toxic damage to rack up now. As he's going to go for the Ice Beam right here. And we take no damage and get a little bit of lefties back as he is slowly getting chipped down from the poison. And then I believe this next turn, he's going to pull a switch out into his Torn T. This isn't even moving as fast as I want it to. I've already been talking for like 10 minutes. He's going to go out into his Hydreigon, actually, on 1,000 arrows. So we are potentially able to 2-hit KO him right here, depending on his spread. I believe last time he brought a Scarf Hydreigon, but he reveals this time to definitely not be a Scarf Hydreigon. As he goes for the Roost right here, as I am going to go just straight for the 1,000 arrows and chip this thing down a little bit more. And yeah. So, expecting him to go for another Roost right here. Potentially, I am going to go for the Toxic, because he likes to go for the Dragon Balls and break by sub. Which makes sense, though, because we couldn't KO him from that range anyways. So I am just going to go for the Toxic and poison this thing as well. And then I believe I'm just going to pull the switch out into my Florges. There's no reason for me to protect, as he's probably going to Roost this turn. Oh, no, I go into my Aggron, predicting the Roost right here. Just so I can get my Mega off and potentially get my Rocks up and potentially force this thing out, because Heavy Slam's going to do a fat chunk to it. So right here, I'm going to throw off my Mega so we can kind of switch into things more reliably, like the Mawile and the whatchamacallit, the Tapu Bulu. I think we resist hits and stuff like that now. And right here, he is going to go for the Dark Pulse on us, so we're actually going to take a big chunk right there, which is unfortunate. I figured he'd want to kind of preserve this thing, because it's pretty scary versus my team, in all honesty. Right here, he's going to take even more Poison Chip. Right here, he's going to go for the Roost, and I believe I go for the Wish one more time. And he is going to... This next turn, I believe he goes for another Dark Pulse, which is a good play on his end because I'm actually going to expect him to want to switch out or roost again, and I'm going to go into my Aggron, trying to wish it back up and get it healthy. As he goes for the Dark Pulse, I knew I could live one, unless he got like a max roll or he's like modest or something like that. So I am able to get at least a little bit more health than I initially had right here, as I'm going to switch out and I'm going to go back into my Florges right here as he goes for the Defog, which sucks because now rocks are gone. All that was for nothing. I took a bunch of chip on my Aggron for absolutely nothing. But down goes the Hydreigon at least, so we are able to knock out the first model of the game. And right here, he's going to pull the switch out into his Alolan Golem. Right here, I am just going to throw off a Wish. This thing can't OHKO me pretty much ever, as he is going to go for the Stealth Rock right here. Which is a good play because he can slowly chip down our team with our 2 flying types in the back. As I am going to pull switch out into my Zygarde as he goes for a return, which makes me think that he's Galvanized. So I don't know exactly what the set was. I actually didn't see his team after the game. But it is definitely odd. As right here, he is going to go into his Tornadus hard on my Zygarde. Expecting us to, want 1,000 arrows or go for the sub or something like that. As I am going to protect this next turn and go for the taunt. All right, and this next turn, I want to explain this because I did get a little bit of flack for this post-game, but I kind of want to explain my thought process, at least, where I was at. So he has revealed taunt, right? He revealed taunt so he can stop us. It goes through sub, obviously, and stuff like that. But right here, I'm going to click Toxic. Reason being, if he clicks taunt again, fine. I get a little bit of lefties recovery, and then I can just throw off 1,000 arrows the next turn. If he does not click taunt for some reason, I get a poison off on this Tornadus, and it's literally 0 drawback because my sub's still not broken, and I can just throw off the arrows the next turn, and we're just in the same position that we would have been if he did taunt us. So, in all honesty, I don't really see a downside to clicking Toxic in this point. All it gives me is just more lefties, as he is going to go for the Hidden Power, expecting us to not go for the Toxic. And our sub is going to be broken, and we are able to get the Toxic off on the Tornadus, which is, again, very, very nice, because this is one of the few things that we did have trouble really beating in this game. So let's see if we can speed it up to 2 times. As I am going to go for the Protect right here, just get a little bit more chip as he goes for the Z-Fly right here. This is actually going to bounce off right here through our Protect. If we weren't protected, this would have been a huge chunk. I guess he did this expecting us to potentially switch out and do like our Florges or our pretty weakened Rotom Fan, which, wouldn't live 2 HP ISs from this range anyway, so I couldn't really go hard into it. So right here now, I'm going to go into my Florges as he goes for the taunt, which sucks because now I can't go out and throw off a Defog, which is what I wanted to do at this point, but oh well, as he is getting pretty weakened right here, so he's going to pull the switch out and go into his Tapu Bulu right here, and I believe I pulled a double myself. There we go, yep. And I go into my Rotom Fan, and I get a little bit of lefty, so this gives me, a nice 6%, or what is it, 6 or is it 8? I think it's 6. And right here, he's going to go into a Slowbro right here, as I go for the Air Slash, and it kind of bounces off, but again, that's fine, because I get a little bit of lefty's recovery back, and I can just throw off a Thunderbolt the next turn. I'm not scared about the Alolan Golem coming in. I can kind of just Volt Switch out on that thing, as he goes for the Scald, and unfortunately gets a crit and a burn, which is going to nullify our lefties, and it's going to put us very, very, very low. I believe we're potentially in range of rocks. No, we're actually out of range of rocks right here, but we might as well be. This kind of makes our Rotom useless, which is very, very unfortunate. As he pulls the switch out, and I am going to Volt Switch right here, expecting so, because Volt Switch would have killed the bro from where it was at, and I can get in my Zygarde right here, which is, again, a very big problem for his team. Everything that I really need Toxic is, besides maybe the Bulu. So that's the only thing at this point that we really need to get a poison off on. As he pulls the switch out into his Mawile, as we are able to get a substitute up right here. And then, I believe the turn after, he's just going to go and pivot into his Tapu Bulu, keeping the Intimidate on his Mawile and stuff like that. As we are just going to throw off 1,000 arrows. Obviously, I wasn't going to Toxic the Mawile. I'm not going to let it set up. I'm -1. I still could have done a pretty decent chunk to it, depending on the spread. So, figure, why not just not let it take that? Why not just not take the extra damage? Man, talking too much in this game. Right here, he's going to pull the switch out again as I go for the Toxic. He is kind of PP stalling me, and at this point of the game, this is kind of where I want to talk about it, because this is kind of where it starts happening. Each one of these turns, obviously, I'm going 2 times speed, so these turns look like they are very, very, very fast. In-game, there was about, a good 40-50 seconds in between, and I didn't notice it at this time, but I will in a few turns that he is, in fact, timer stalling us at this point, or working towards that fact. Trying to run down the timer a little bit, as we are in the lead right now, but we probably won't be for a very much longer time, as we are taunted right here. So I'm gonna have to pull out a switch out into my into something else as I go to my Florges, which was a dumb play. That was a dumb play on my end. I knew I was gonna be 2-hit KO'd. There's no way I wasn't. I wasn't super physically defensive. As right here, my Florges is gonna go down, which is very annoying because now we don't have anything to wish up our aggro on or anything like that. It makes it much harder to win this game because we also can't defog the rocks away, which is also very, very annoying. As right here, I'm going to go into my Staraptor. I'm going to go for the U-turn on the incoming Mawile, and I am going to go straight into my Aggron, and I believe I choose to get up my own rocks right here because I can't remove his, so I might as well get mine up. As right here, he's going to go into the Tornadus Therian and take a little bit of Poison Chip. And right here, he is going to go for the Heat Wave. Now, this was a roll in, I believe it was around a 50-50 if he was timid for me to live that hit. So I decided to risk it, throw off a Heavy Slam because I knew that plus Poison would definitely knock him out. We get the roll, or more so, he doesn't get the roll. And we are able to knock out the Tornadus Therian. So we are at 5-4 at this point. But this Mega Mawile is just going to come in. It's going to click knock off, and our Aggron is going to go down. So the game is tied at this point. We can still definitely win this game with the pieces we have left at this point. As right here, I'm going to go into my Azelf. He's going to go for the Sucker Punch, and I go for the Flamethrower. Reason I went into this before my Zygarde is because he definitely wasn't in range of 1,000 arrows at this point. So right here, I'm going to pull the switch out, expecting another Sucker Punch potentially. I'm just going to go into my Rotom Fan, trying to sack it off, as we do live on 1, unfortunately, which is a bit annoying, but it doesn't really matter in the long run. As he goes for the Sucker Punch, and we are going to go down. So Rotom put in a decent amount of work. I think if it didn't get crit burned, we could have potentially saved it and done a little bit better with it. But I am going to go into my Zygarde right here, as I believe I just go for a, I believe I go for 1,000 arrows. Yeah, I didn't really want to mess around with this Mawile. If you let me kill this thing, my Azelf could honestly just win at that point. If we just got a little bit of chip on these other things, they were definitely in range of, Flamethrower, Energy Ball, and Psychic. As right here, I'm going to throw Toxic off on the blue. This is the last thing I need, Toxic. As right here, he is going to go for the Leech Seed. And this was the point in the game where I was thinking in my head, oh, I'm definitely being timer stalled right now, because each turn was definitely taking 50 seconds in between. And this is rough because we are down 4-3 at this point. And due to the nature of my team, I cannot beat his team fast enough if he continues to timer stall to win this game. There's no way I can, potentially even win this. So I am going to go into my Staraptor on an aggressive switch. And the Intimidate actually helps us because we are able to live that Horn Leech after rocks right there. As he is going to pull the switch out into his own Golem. And I can't really preserve this thing at this point. I have no rocks removal anymore, as I'm just going to go for another Brave Bird right here. And I am able to chip this thing down, but then my Staraptor is going to go down right here. This does give me another switch into my Zygarde right here. I probably should have went into my Azelf right here and threatened it out like that and gone for like an Energy Ball or something like that. But I can just go into my Zygarde right here and kind of just throw 1,000 arrows. But at this point, I can't break through his team fast enough to win this game before the timer goes down to 0. If this was on Showdown, I'm very convinced that I could win this game. And spoilers, I'm going to be honest with you guys. We aren't able to win this game due to losing the timer start. We are going to drop this game because between the Tapu Bulu getting its own grassy terrain recovery and the 50 seconds, there was only 10 minutes left in the game before this started happening. Him getting recovery from Horn Leech, and then him being able to just pivot into slow row pretty much infinitely. Things are looking pretty rough for us at this point. If I had a more healthy Azelf and I could set up a nasty plot, potentially we could win. I just wish I would have weakened the Mawile earlier in the game so I didn't have to waste my Azelf and, let that thing get so chipped towards in range of another sucker, because he did elect to save the Mawile, which was a smart play on his end, to potentially beat us like that. But right here, I'm just going to spam 1,000 arrows. I have no point in trying to stall this thing out anymore because, again, I'll beat my own self to timer. As right here, he's going to pull switch out into his Alolan Golem just to kind of reset toxic turns, as I am able to knock it out. All for naught, though, because it is still 3-2 in his favor. As right here, I believe he can just go out into his slow row right here. And this is when the timer runs out at this point, and we are going to drop this game 3-2. So like I said, this is kind of just due to the nature of the team I ended up bringing and the roster he has in general. I didn't really have a way, in my opinion, to break through his fat like the slow row, Torn, Bulu, you know, that core right there was just so nasty for my team to deal with, and I really didn't see a way of, you know, beating him without him just, you know, being able to pivot around and just kind of live forever. So I was kind of forced into bringing a set like this. If I could have, I wish I could have found a way to potentially break through his team in a more offensive way. But hey, it happens. It was his win con. I was pretty salty after the game, but looking back, it was his best win con. This is semifinals. He wants to go on and win the championship just like I did. And I could say probably in the same position. I might make the same decision myself just to try and get the win. So unfortunately, our season is cut short right here to Jacob. GG's to him. Best of luck to him in the finals. I believe he plays silver, so that's going to be a really fun game to watch. I actually can't wait to watch that game. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for the support for NCP Wi-Fi Season 1 run. This is the first league that we uploaded to the channel, so it's pretty bittersweet to see it go, but we do have some pretty cool stuff on the horizon that I'm very excited for. But yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.